I don't think the mortgage interest rates are going to get any better. I mean, you've got people who are up in the air about, oh, the upcoming Trump administration. I've got a couple people who want to sell their houses in Pueblo and move to the Springs, but they're holding out because they're like, I don't know what the Trump administration is going to do for home prices. It's not going to do anything for home prices. Just here's the secret is that supply and demand. It's always been about supply and demand. There are not enough homes for people who want to move here to the Springs. You have, and it's not that I thought prices could not get any more expensive here. And then I remembered, oh yeah, Denver is consistently like $100,000 higher in home prices than here in the Springs. You got plenty of cities in California and New York and elsewhere where the home prices are just astronomical. And those people with that money are coming here to the Springs and increasing the population and injecting wealth and the ability to pay for these houses and drive the prices up further. That's what's going on in Colorado Springs. And why would the interest rates come down? We have so much debt. We have so much national debt. We have to pay that off. And we're not going to pay it off by offering a lower percentage on interest rates. So I feel like we're stuck in the high sixes, low sevens for the time being. Meanwhile, yeah, let's talk about the Trump administration and the potential for all these different policies that have not been enacted yet because we haven't hit January. So we can speculate on what may or may not happen, but until the policy is in place, then you can decide, hey, this is what's going to shake out from that. But just to play guesswork and say, okay, JD Vance once said that they wanted to deport 11 to 20 million immigrants, and if they're on the track to they want to do that, then how are they going to? They're going to have to get the military involved for that. So, assuming they can actually follow through on that, and we are short or we are down up to 20 million people, a lot of those were in the construction trades. And so, you're going to have a huge gap in the number of people who can build homes. And sure, that may increase the housing availability for the lower end housing, that may increase jobs that Americans may or may not want. But even if they do want them, it's going to take them time to fill in those jobs and to continue with the new construction and the new builds. And so you're not going to get any more housing. You're not going to get any more supply than what you already have if that's the case. Now, Trump he has said he wants to open up federal land for building on. He wants to ease building regulations and codes. Like, great, I can't wait to have crappier housing that has even fewer regulations. But getting past that, is that enough to build more homes? There's a bunch of other policies too, but those are the ones specifically that are going to affect housing and our ability to supply more homes. We are just short thousands of homes in Colorado Springs. We cannot build enough. We can build like 1,000, 2,000 per year as is. So to have a differing administration come in is also going to make the stock prices volatile. I mean, you saw how the stocks kind of leveled out once Trump was confirmed, and the uncertainty was no longer there. So now you have renewed uncertainty with what are these people that they're hiring and putting into the administration going to do to the economy and to the housing market. And so now we have growing uncertainty again because there's a whole bunch of new people coming in. Who knows what they're going to do and how it's going to affect anything? We're already talking about tariffs, right? And so now that's going to be more expensive to the consumer because the companies that are paying to import those goods, products from other countries are having to pay more for that. And of course, they're not going to eat into their investor profits, so they're going to pass that cost on to the consumer. So all imported goods become more expensive. Now, that doesn't necessarily affect housing, but that's just one more piece of all of this. How is this going to affect the economy and people's ability to buy homes? And right now, homes are so expensive in Colorado Springs that half of the would-be buyers can't afford to buy them, and most of them are just already living here. And if you own a home already and you bought a few years ago, great. You're locked into a 2.5, 3.5% interest rate. You're not going anywhere. But for the people who do have money who are still coming in, they can afford to continue pushing those prices up. And what's going to happen to their wealth with the Trump administration? I don't know. Are we going to have more job loss? Are we going to have more job gains? I don't know. I don't know any of this, and most of you don't. So I would be very interested, though. Give me your opinion. especially if it's reasoned, especially if you have evidence. Show that and say, hey, this is where I think the Trump administration is going to be taking our housing market, our economy, general state of America. But mainly, I mean, this is about housing, right? So are the homes going to get more expensive? Are the interest rates going to drop? And again, I don't think the interest rates are going to drop because there's no impetus, there's no incentive to do that. And I don't think that housing prices are going to drop. They're just going to keep rising. You saw that Realtor.com picture that came out where they said, hey, here are the top 10 cities that we think are going to appreciate to $1 million home value in the next 10 years. And Colorado Springs was on that list. And that doesn't mean anything by itself, but it's just one more. Do you see, like, it's just simple supply and demand. But what are your thoughts?